Wait, if you're collecting Social Security, the SSA just announced 3 major changes coming to your benefits in 2026, and most people have absolutely no idea what's about to happen. In the next few minutes, I'm breaking down exactly what's changing, how much more money could hit your account, and the one critical thing every retiree needs to do right now to make sure you don't miss out. The Social Security Administration officially confirmed it. Starting January 2026, over 75 million Americans are about to see significant shifts in their benefits. But here's what most financial advisors aren't telling you. This isn't just about a simple raise. There are 3 distinct changes that could affect your monthly check, your taxes, and even how much you can earn without losing benefits. First, there's the 2.8% cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA, that's roughly an extra $56 per month for the average retiree. Second, the earnings limit is jumping, which means you can work and earn more without Social Security slashing your benefits. And third, there's a major change to how your taxable income threshold works that could put extra money in your pocket if you haven't retired yet. So let's break all of this down so you actually understand what's happening with your money. Let me start with the COLA because this is what most retirees are excited about, but honestly, it's not quite as exciting as it sounds when you understand the full picture. The 2.8% cost of living adjustment officially takes effect in January 2026, and the Social Security Administration calculated this based on inflation data from the third quarter of 2024 through the third quarter of 2025. This might seem like a small number, just 2.8%, but here's why it matters. When you have millions of people collecting benefits, even small percentage increases add up to real money in people's pockets. The average Social Security retirement benefit right now is around $2,015 per month in 2025. With the 2.8% COLA, that jumps to approximately $2,071 starting in January 2026. That's an extra $56 per month or $672 per year for the average retiree. Now, if you're married and you're both collecting, multiply that by 2. That's over $2,300 extra per year hitting your household. For couples collecting together, the SSA estimates the average increase will be about $88 per month, bringing their combined benefit from $3,220 to $3,208. That's real money that can make a difference in your monthly budget. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. This COLA increase is modest compared to what we saw in previous years. In 2023, the COLA was 8.7%, which was historic. Last year, in 2025, it was only 2.5%. So 2.8% puts us somewhere in the middle, but it's still lower than the historical average of about 3.1% over the last decade. What does this mean for you? It means inflation isn't cooling down as fast as the government hoped, but it's also not running away like it was 2 years ago. The COLA exists specifically to make sure that your purchasing power, the actual amount of stuff you can buy with your money, doesn't get completely eroded by inflation. Without this annual adjustment, retirees would slowly get poorer every year as the value of their benefits decreased in real dollars. Now let's talk about the second major change, and this one is actually huge if you're still working or planning to go back to work. The earnings limit is increasing significantly. In 2025, if you're collecting Social Security but you're under full retirement age and you want to work, you can only earn $23,400 per year before the government starts reducing your benefits. That sounds like a lot, but if you're working part-time or even full-time, you could easily hit that number. Well, in 2026, that limit jumps to $24,480 per year. That's an increase of $1,080 annually, or about $90 more per month that you can earn without penalty. Here's how the penalty works, and this is critical information that a lot of people miss. If you're younger than full retirement age and you earn more than $24,480 in 2026, Social Security will reduce your benefits by $1 for every $2 you earn above that limit. So if you earn $26,480, which is $2,000 over the limit, Social Security withholds $1,000 of your benefits. That sounds harsh, but there's a silver lining. Once you hit full retirement age, the rules change dramatically. If you reach full retirement age in 2026, the earnings limit jumps to $65,160 per year. That's a huge jump. And the penalty formula is much more generous too. You lose only $1 in benefits for every $3 you earn above that threshold. This is important because it means retirees who are approaching full retirement age might want to work more aggressively in 2026 because they know they can earn significantly more without taking a hit to their benefits. And here's something else that's huge. Once you actually reach full retirement age, and this is officially recognized, the earnings limit disappears completely. You can earn as much as you want, and Social Security won't reduce your benefits at all. So if you're planning to keep working or go back to work, 2026 gives you more flexibility than you had in 2025. Now let's move to the third change, and this one affects workers who are still paying into Social Security and haven't claimed benefits yet. The maximum amount of earnings subject to Social Security tax is increasing. In 2025, you only pay the 6.2% Social Security tax on earnings up to $176,100. But in 2026, that cap increases to $184,500. That's an increase of $8,400, which means high-income earners will pay more in Social Security taxes next year. Now, if you're making under $184,500, this doesn't affect you directly. But if you're self-employed or you earn a six-figure income, you're going to see an increase in your tax bill for 2026. But here's the flip side. This is actually good news long-term. Because you're paying taxes on more of your earnings, you're also building up more Social Security credits, which means your eventual retirement benefit is going to be larger. The way Social Security calculates your benefit is based on your 35 highest earning years. So if you're still in your peak earning years, paying more into the system now means a significantly larger check when you retire. For workers who are many years away from retirement, this higher earnings cap is a positive because it allows you to build up a better benefit base. Let me put all three of these changes together and show you how they create a complete picture for 2026. If you're already retired and collecting benefits, you're getting about an extra $56 per month from the COLA increase. That's not life-changing, but it helps offset inflation. If you're retired but you're thinking about going back to work or doing some consulting or freelance work, the higher earnings limit gives you more freedom. You can now earn up to $24,480 without any penalty if you're under full retirement age. And if you're not yet retired but you're still working, you're paying more into Social Security, which is going to result in a larger benefit when you do retire. But wait, there's something else you need to know that the SSA doesn't advertise as heavily. The COLA increase of $56 per month looks good on paper, but many Medicare beneficiaries are going to see a chunk of that eaten up by higher Medicare premiums. The 2026 Medicare Part B premium, that's the part that covers doctor visits and outpatient care, is increasing. For many beneficiaries on original Medicare, that increase is approximately $17.90 per month. That's about 32% of your COLA increase right there. So if you're expecting $56 more per month, you might actually only see about $38 in real spending power increase. This is why you need to understand the whole picture, not just the headlines. Another critical thing you need to know is that the SSA will be sending you a COLA notice starting in late November 2025 and continuing into December. This notice will show you your exact new benefit amount for 2026. The notice is now formatted to be much clearer and easier to read than it used to be. It's only one page, and it includes the exact date your new benefit amount will start and the exact dollar amount you'll receive. If you have a My Social Security account, which is free to set up on the SSA website, you can view this notice online anytime. You can also set up text or email alerts so you get notified when new messages arrive. This is the most important document you'll receive regarding your benefits, so pay attention to it. Now, let me address something that's been really confusing for a lot of people. Some of you are worried that if you take Social Security early, these changes won't help you as much. That's partially true, and I want to explain why. If you claim benefits before your full retirement age, you take a permanent reduction in your benefit amount. The earlier you claim, the bigger the reduction. For example, if your full retirement age is 67 and you claim at 62, you're looking at about a 30% permanent reduction. The COLA increases still apply to you, but they're always calculated on your already reduced benefit amount. So while the 2.8% increase is still valuable, it's 2.8% of a smaller number. This is why delaying benefits is such a powerful strategy that many financial advisors recommend. If you can afford to wait until your full retirement age, or even better, until age 70, your benefits increase significantly. For every year you delay past full retirement age, up to age 70, your benefit increases by 8%. That compounds over time. So if you wait from age 67 to age 70, you're looking at a 24% permanent increase to your monthly check. That's huge. The COLA increases then apply to that much larger base number. This is something you need to think carefully about, and it's worth having a conversation with a financial advisor to figure out what makes sense for your specific situation. Here's what you need to do right now, and I cannot stress this enough. First, create a My Social Security account if you don't already have one. Go to SSA.gov and sign up. This takes about 15 minutes, and it gives you access to your Social Security statement, which shows your estimated benefits at different claiming ages. You need to see this information. Second, make sure your address and contact information are correct with Social Security. If they can't reach you, they can't notify you of important changes or issues with your account. Third, when you receive your COLA notice in late November or December, read it carefully. Make sure the benefit amount shown is what you're expecting. If something looks wrong, contact the SSA immediately. Fourth, if you're still working and earning significant income, make sure you understand the 2026 earnings limit that applies to you. If you're under full retirement age, remember that limit is $24,480. Keep track of your earnings throughout the year because if you go over the limit, you need to report it. Social Security used to do automatic reporting with the IRS, but now it's more your responsibility to report. If you earn too much and don't report it, you might have to repay benefits, and trust me, you don't want that headache. Finally, if you're approaching retirement age and you're still working, have a real conversation with yourself about your retirement timeline. The 2026 changes give you more flexibility, so think about whether you want to keep working longer or start transitioning toward retirement. One more critical thing. This is the biggest mistake I see people make. Don't assume the changes we're seeing in 2026 will continue forever. COLA increases vary year to year based on inflation. The earnings limits increase every year based on wage growth in the economy. The taxable maximum changes every year too. So what's true in 2026 won't be exactly the same in 2027, 2028, or beyond. You need to stay informed and revisit these changes annually. Bookmark the SSA website, sign up for notifications, and don't just assume things will stay the same. The bottom line is this: 2026 brings real changes to Social Security that affect almost every American, whether you're all. The 2.8% COLA increase means more money every month, even if it's not as much as we'd like. The higher earnings limits give you more flexibility if you want to work. And the higher taxable maximum means future retirees will have access to better benefits. These are positive changes that will help you, but only if you understand them and plan accordingly. But I want to go deeper because there's something most people miss when they're looking at these changes: the bigger picture of what's happening with Social Security as a whole. The trust funds that pay for Social Security are projected to be depleted by 2034. That sounds scary, but let me explain what it actually means. If nothing changes, when the trust funds run out, Social Security can still pay about 80% of scheduled benefits from incoming payroll taxes. So it's not like benefits disappear overnight, but without congressional action, there will be an automatic benefit cut of about 20% across the board. That's why these 2026 changes, while beneficial right now, are really just temporary solutions to a bigger problem that Congress needs to address. This is why the earnings limit changes are so significant. By allowing higher earners to earn more without penalty, it encourages people to stay in the workforce longer. Every year someone works is another year they're paying into Social Security and potentially increasing their benefit calculation. The longer people work, the better it is for the Social Security system. More people paying in, fewer people taking out. It's simple math. The government is essentially using the increased earnings limit as an incentive to keep people working longer, which strengthens the entire system. Now let me talk about something that's really important if you're married. If you're married and your spouse has a significant earnings history with Social Security, the 2026 changes might affect both of you differently. If your spouse is still working and under full retirement age, they can now earn up to $24,480 without any reduction to spousal or survivor benefits. This is huge because it means couples can potentially both work and collect spousal benefits simultaneously, something that wasn't as attractive in previous years. However, if your spouse claimed benefits early and received a reduced amount, those early filing reductions never go away, even with the COLA increases. The COLA applies to the reduced amount, not the full amount they would have received if they'd waited. This is why coordination of claiming strategies in married couples is so critical. Some of the most powerful optimization strategies for married couples involve one spouse delaying benefits while the other claims early, or both delaying benefits as long as possible. These strategies can potentially generate tens of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime benefits, and the 2026 changes create new opportunities for this kind of planning. If you're married, I strongly recommend sitting down with a financial advisor who specializes in Social Security claiming strategies. The few $100s you spend on professional advice could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your retirement. Another group that should pay close attention to 2026 changes is divorced people who are entitled to spousal or survivor benefits based on a former spouse's earnings record. The earnings limit increase applies to divorced beneficiaries the same way it applies to everyone else. If you're divorced and under full retirement age, you can now earn up to $24,480 per year without penalty. But here's something critical. If you divorced before 1985, you might be eligible for divorced spousal benefits that many people don't even know about. The 2026 changes don't directly affect this, but they do affect whether you can work while collecting these benefits without penalty. This is worth researching on the SSA website or discussing with a benefits specialist. Let me also address something that's been in the news a lot: the question of whether Social Security will survive. The answer is yes, it will survive. Social Security is one of the most stable income sources in America. The government cannot let Social Security collapse because it would devastate millions of retirees overnight. What's going to happen is that Congress will need to make changes, probably sometime in the next few years, to ensure the system's long-term solvency. These changes might include raising the payroll tax, adjusting the retirement age, means testing benefits for higher earners, or some combination of these things. But the idea that Social Security is going bankrupt tomorrow is simply not true and will not happen. The 2026 changes are actually part of the system working as designed. The annual COLA adjustments automatically built into the system help keep benefits in line with inflation. The earnings limit increases are built in automatically based on wage growth. These automatic adjustments were created decades ago specifically to reduce the need for Congress to constantly tweak the system. They're working exactly as intended, and they're helping the system remain stable and fair. Now, if you're someone who's already retired and receiving benefits, here's what 2026 means practically. You're getting about an extra $56 per month, which might seem small, but over the course of a year, that's $672. Over 10 years, it's $6,720. And remember, the COLA adjustments compound over time. Next year, we'll see another COLA increase, the year after that, another one, and so on. These compounds build up significant money over a 20 or 30-year retirement. That's why understanding and maximizing Social Security is so important. You're not just talking about 1 year's increase, you're talking about a baseline increase that affects every single check you receive for the rest of your life. If you're approaching retirement, say you're in your early 60s, the 2026 changes give you something to think about. The higher earnings limits mean you have more flexibility if you want to work a few more years. Working longer does several things. First, it delays your Social Security claim, which means a permanently higher benefit. Second, it gives you more time to build up your 35 highest earning years calculation. Third, it reduces the number of years you need your savings to last. If you can work from 62 to 67, for example, you're only asking your retirement savings to last from 67 onwards, not from 62 onwards. That's 5 fewer years of draws on your retirement savings. The math on working longer is often dramatically better than people think. Here's something else that ties into 2026 changes: tax planning. The COLA increase and the higher earnings limits affect your tax situation. If you're over 65 and collecting Social Security, you need to know the formula for determining how much of your benefits are taxable. The basic rule is that between 50% and 85% of your Social Security benefits can be taxed, depending on your combined income. Combined income includes your adjusted gross income, plus tax-exempt interest, plus half your Social Security benefits. The thresholds for this taxation haven't changed in decades, which means more and more retirees are getting caught by the Social Security benefits tax each year. The 2026 COLA increase might push you into a higher tax bracket if you're close to the threshold. This is something to discuss with your tax preparer or financial advisor. One more practical thing: if you haven't already, set up your My Social Security account right now. I know I mentioned this earlier, but I'm emphasizing it again because it's so important. Go to SSA.gov, click on My Social Security, and follow the steps to create an account. You'll need to verify your identity, which the system makes pretty easy. Once you're in, you can see your complete earnings record, which is critical information. Sometimes the SSA makes mistakes in recording your earnings. If they do and you don't catch it before you claim benefits, those mistakes follow you for life. When you set up your account, review your earnings record carefully. If you spot a discrepancy, report it to the SSA immediately. They have a process for correcting earnings records, but it's much easier to do this before you claim benefits than after. Your My Social Security account also gives you access to your Social Security statement, which shows your estimated benefits at different ages. You can see what you'd get at 62, at your full retirement age, and at 70. This is invaluable information for retirement planning. You can also use this account to set up an alert so the SSA can notify you when important documents are ready. You'll get notified when your COLA notice is available in late 2025. You'll get notified if there are any changes to your account. It's like having a personal Social Security representative in your pocket. If you're self-employed, the 2026 earnings cap increase is something to pay special attention to. Self-employed people pay the full 15.3% Social Security and Medicare tax on their net self-employment income, which is double what regular employees pay, though you get a deduction for part of it on your taxes. The higher earnings cap means you'll be paying more into Social Security if you're earning over $176,100 in 2025. But remember, this creates a bigger benefit for you when you retire. If you're self-employed and you've had substantial earnings, make sure you're setting aside money for these increased tax obligations. The last thing you want is to get to tax time and discover you owe significantly more than you budgeted. Let me also talk about what doesn't change in 2026, because this is important too. The age at which you become eligible for Social Security benefits doesn't change. You can still claim as early as 62. Your full retirement age remains unchanged based on your year of birth. The spousal benefit still maxes out at 50% of the primary earner's benefit. The rules about government pension offset and windfall elimination provision remain the same. Widower and widow's benefits remain unchanged. The rules about remarriage and survivor benefits remain unchanged. In other words, the fundamental structure of Social Security stays the same. These three changes we've been discussing are important, but they're relatively modest tweaks to the system, not a complete overhaul. As you move into 2026, I want you to think strategically about your situation. If you're already retired, your 2.8% increase is automatic. You don't have to do anything. If you're still working and under full retirement age, take advantage of the higher earnings limit and plan your work accordingly. If you're approaching full retirement age, think carefully about your claiming timeline. If you're several years away from retirement, focus on maximizing your earnings to build up the best benefit possible. And if you're young and early in your career, the increased taxable maximum gives you an opportunity to build a stronger Social Security foundation. The most important thing I can tell you is this: Social Security is one of your most valuable assets. For most people, It will provide a significant portion of their retirement income. The 2026 changes might seem small when you look at them individually, but when you look at the bigger picture and understand how they interact with your overall retirement plan, they become very significant. Take the time to understand your situation. Get your facts straight from the official SSA website, and don't hesitate to seek professional help if you need it. A financial advisor who specializes in Social Security can help you optimize your benefits and potentially save you a lot of money. So there you have it, the complete breakdown of the 3 major Social Security changes coming in 2026. The 2.8% COLA increase puts extra money in your pocket every month. The higher earnings limits give you more flexibility if you want to work, and the higher taxable maximum strengthens the system for future retirees. These changes are real, they matter, and they deserve your attention. Like this video if you found it helpful. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these changes is most relevant to your situation. Do you have questions about how these changes affect you specifically? Let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates about Social Security, retirement planning, and financial strategies that can help you build a secure retirement. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn about this important information. Your financial security is worth the effort to understand these changes. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.